This program is brought to you by UCKG.
Coming up on tonight's show, many people say waking up every day is a struggle. Another day, another battle. However, the hardest part is trying to hide what they feel inside. Nightmares, traumas, insomnia, and complexes are just a few examples of the battles many people face, oblivious to the deeper causes to these disturbances. Tonight, our live guest will be speaking about how she achieved a happy life through her faith.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's show. I and Pastor Neil are here together, and tonight we will talk about negative thoughts. I know that out there a lot of people struggle with negative thoughts. And what do I mean by struggling? They keep having negative thoughts and they don't like it. They feel terrified. And perhaps this has occurred to you. You are someone who doesn't like it when you are bombarded by negative thoughts. You've been constantly thinking about harming someone, self-harming. Sometimes even you go to the extreme of contemplating to take your own life, and you don't feel happy about it. Well, we want to show you tonight through this show that the good news is there is a mechanism that if you know how to use it correctly, you can literally tackle this negative thought. You don't need to be misled by this negative thought. And our guest tonight, she's got an amazing story. She's going to be disclosing in full details what she did and the formula that she applied to her life, which led her to be a successful person today. We are not saying here that people can be totally free from negative thoughts, because they do come to everybody. Come to me, they come to you. However, we learned the skill, the secret to restrain them from causing a negative effect on us.
Because they come every day. Every single day, negative thoughts comes. But we are the ones that has to learn the way how to put them in their place, let's say it like that. Because the negative thoughts will come. But it's up to me to entertain them, it's up to me to accept them, or to cast them out.
Yes, we will watch now a video, and this video shows you the story of a person who's struggled with negative thoughts, but through the power of genuine faith, this person has now a successful life.
I had many problems growing up because my mum had me at a very young age, and my dad, he was never part of my life. And when I was 9 months old, my mum got into a relationship which is now my stepdad. And moving here to London, me and my stepdad didn't get along. Up to this day, I don't know what it was, but he just didn't like me. He would make sure that there was a difference between me and my brother, where he would treat us very differently. And my mum would always take his side just to prevent arguments, because if she took my side, then that would cause more arguments and stuff like that. So growing up, I felt very left out. I felt like the black sheep of the family. I always thought I was a mistake from my mum's past. So when I hit my teenage years, I started looking for that love and that attention elsewhere. So I got into the wrong sort of friendships, and those friendships caused me to have my first boyfriend. And because I was innocent, and he was much older than me, and because he showed me that care and that love and attention I never had at home, so I fell into his arms and I made him my world in a way. And because obviously my parents didn't agree with it, once they found out, they explained to me that I'm too young to have a boyfriend, so on. But I didn't listen to them, because in my eyes, they were trying to take away the only thing that made me happy. I had to end the relationship because there was no other way we could be together. Literally, I felt like I lost who I was. I didn't know who I was anymore. I was just going with the flow, I guess. I was just going like with what life gave me. Today I can actually say that I love my life because I can see everything has fallen into place. Like today I don't feel the way I used to feel anymore inside. Today I can say I have peace, I'm happy, I love who I am, I love who I'm becoming. I can say that today I have a great relationship with my family, with my brothers and sisters and my parents. Like me and my mom, we have like the closest relationship. I feel like I can tell her anything. I have conquered the job that I've always wanted, and I feel like I'm really growing in life. I'm 19 years old, but I feel like my life is coming into place and I'm like fighting for what I want, and I feel like I can achieve anything because of the positivity that I have inside and just the fact that I'm happy and I know I'm a strong person.
Welcome back to our program, Finding Answers. Tonight we are talking about negative thoughts. We have here in our studio tonight our guest, Dami, and I want you to tell me, Dami, the viewers they are watching now, I know later on you're going to give your full testimony, full details. Why the viewers, why they should watch this testimony? How bad was your negative thoughts?
Well, Pastor, I went through a lot of negative thoughts, and it really stemmed from a lot of issues I faced in my family, a lot of issues I faced inside, not believing in myself, to the point that the negative thoughts led me to want to actually commit suicide. So it was a really, really big issue I had in my mind with myself, not liking who I was, not liking the person that I wanted to be, not seeing myself as having a future.
So it's, let's say then it was very bad.
Yes.
Very, very bad.
Yes.
So don't go. If very soon you are going to hear how is her life. Pastor Douglas, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You see, Pastor Douglas, as she says that the negative thoughts pin her down. And how many people they are watching now with this problem?
Yes, absolutely. And all the viewers that are watching us tonight, they will certainly relate to Dami's story. And in case you have missed one of our shows, one of our previous shows, you can go to our social media channels and you can find there the previous episodes of Finding Answers. We got a YouTube channel, just go subscribe and type there Finding Answers and you'll be able to watch the previous episodes. We are also on Facebook and Instagram. You can also find there Finding Answers. And last but not least, you can give us a call. Do you need our help? Do you need to get things off your chest? Give us a call. We are here to listen to you. It's our interest to help you. Our phone number is 020-7686-6300. You can also send an email to help@findinganswers.tv. And once we get your email in our inbox, we will read your email and pray for you. So right now we are going to go to a break and we'll be back with Finding Answers.
I was depressed for many years, but not anymore. And now it's my turn to help you lead a happier and healthier life.
Watch The Chrissy B Show on MyTV.
Melting polar ice caps, droughts, and rising sea levels. Climate change brings global disasters, and human activities are part of the problem. But people around the world are looking for ways to address the threat.
Watch Global 3000 on MyTV. Latest digital inventions, cyber concerns, and much more uncovered in Shift. Everything you need to know about the modern digital world. Watch Shift on MyTV. Meet the amazing SUV Jaguar, the stylish Fiat, a vintage VW, a sporty Honda, and the Green Smart ED. Drive it, Test it, know it. We have cars for any taste. Explore vehicles and their features with our weekly show. Watch Drive It on MyTV.
Welcome back. Did you just watch this testimony now? Did you see that there is nothing that faith cannot do? This is just one among so many testimonies that we play here on a daily basis of people whose lives were really bad, but through the power of a genuine faith, they found a way out. And the same can happen to you. You, dear viewer, you who are watching now and you're struggling. You've been seriously thinking about going elsewhere. You can't take it anymore. Sometimes you know the idea of abandoning your family, of leaving your family, because you can't just take it. It's a lot on you. You who have been unemployed, you've been looking for a job and you can't find it. You know, and your budget has been quite tight. You don't know what to do. You've been lacking. You've been in want. You can't provide for your household. You who watch me now and you're housebound. You can't even get out of your bed because you've got a back problem. You've got a disease in your body. You've been going to the doctors, but you know, unfortunately, there isn't much they can do to help you, even though they've been trying their very best with the best of their ability, but perhaps you've got a problem which is beyond the human capacity to solve it. Well, this program is for you. You will now watch one more story, and then after this story, our live guest dummy will be here on the sofa with Pastor Neil to tell you how she's overcome her problem. Stay tuned.
Before I made a change in my life, you know, I was a person, I always wanted to please people, but this was a part of me that people didn't even notice within myself. In school and in general, a lot of people, especially guys, you know, if you have a girl or you're doing stuff with multiple girls, you're seen as macho or you're seen as, nah, he's up there. So this is what we started to do. So there was a group of us and, you know, we used to have competitions with each other. Like, okay, you need to get this girl, if you can get this girl, that girl. And over time, I started to, you know, get up there. I started to do stuff with girls. Like, I started to see girls as objects. Like, I would have a list of different girls. It was like a competition. It was a game. It wasn't serious. It's like I was just playing games with different girls, and this led to me not valuing myself and also valuing women as well. I started to lose myself. I started to lose who I was. I didn't know who I was as a person because I was trying to fit into an image. I wanted to be someone that everyone can see, and I had a void inside of me. It got to a point where someone was speaking and what they were saying was completely different to what I always used to hear people say to me. And it was just realness, it was just speaking the truth. And it actually made me sit down for the first time ever to actually sit down and think about my life. Okay, Ahmed, where are you going? And it was then that I started to realize that, okay, although I'm doing so many things, like I'm lost within myself. So that made me wake up like, okay, like I need to make a change because who am I trying to be? Like, I can't keep doing this. I need to eventually face myself and start to realize that I need to be different. So for me, that was one of the deepest moments because it made me realize, okay, you are this, like you're not who you portray yourself to be in front of others. Now I know who I am. Like, I don't need no one to tell me to do this or do that. I don't need to get ratings from this person or that person. It's like I'm comfortable with who I am as a person now. And it's like I have this peace inside of me. It's not me trying to fill a void or always wanting to have material things or always wanting to please people by doing stuff with girls or prove a point. It's like I'm comfortable with who I am now. Like, I know who I am as a person. So I would say there's been a total transformation in my life.
My life before, I had a lot of debts and I would always borrow to pay one debt, but then I didn't have the means to pay back the debt that I'd borrowed from. So each time it just accumulated, and then the interest was just added on, and then it just spiraled out of hand. The worst point for me when I actually hit rock bottom was in 2012, to be honest, because I felt there was no exit now, because I had actually absorbed everything that I could possibly think of in how I can clear my debts. I just didn't see any way through that I could actually get out of this situation. The change came about when I received some advice from an advisor, a financial advisor, who actually broke it down to me how I could resolve my financial debts. And I was almost £25,000 in debt. And he said, you know, if I continued, by 2018, I would be debt-free. But then I also was receiving some spiritual advice where, in receiving this weekly, and I was also asking God for his direction, I found that, you know, in the spiritual advice that I was actually receiving, you know, and the faith of, you know, taking everything on board, you know, he showed me that you could clear your debt before 2018. If you really wanted to clear your debt, you can clear your debt. And I was so focused on the spiritual advice that I was receiving and really taking the measures that June 2016, I was debt-free. And today, I no longer have any debts. I'm happy. My bank account now is healthy. I can actually, you know, if I want to spend money, I can go out there and I can buy whatever I really need. Whereas before, it wasn't the case. Today, I can honestly say now, all my debts were cleared. I didn't have to pay any interest whatsoever. All the interest, everything has been written off. And all I did was just paid back the money that I actually borrowed. And today, I am debt-free. I can see where my money is going now today. My bank account is healthy. It's very healthy. And I'm just so happy.
Welcome back to Find the Answers. And tonight our guest is Dami. How are you, Dami?
I'm fine, Pastor.
Dami, we are talking about negative thoughts to the viewers tonight. And please tell us your story.
Okay, so from a young age, my family was fine. So I thought everything was good, happy families, until there was a situation where my dad decided to kick out my mum. And back then, I was really close to my mum. So if he was kicking her out, he was basically kicking us out as well. So me and my brother, we went with her, and we were basically homeless. So from that point, we were going from hotel to hotel, trying to find a place to stay. And eventually, we picked ourselves up and we found a place in Peckham. And that's when things were going good. Like, everything was fine, like there was no issues, until there was a particular moment when I came back from school and I found my dad back in the house. And I was really confused. I didn't understand why he was there, because when we were struggling and we couldn't find a place to stay, he was nowhere to be seen. But as soon as we had settled, as soon as we'd found a house, he found us. So from that moment, that's when I really built a grudge against my dad, and I lost respect for my mum. I didn't understand how she could take back someone that kicked her out of the house, someone that didn't respect her. So from then, I lost respect from her. That's when I started to really rebel in my house. So from when I started to rebel, whenever my mum would tell me something, I wouldn't really listen. So she couldn't really control me because I didn't really respect her. So when my dad would say something, I wouldn't listen as well because I didn't really respect him. And prior to that, I wasn't aware that my dad was physically beating up my mum. So he would physically hit her. He would take her money. He would always lie to her. He would always be out and she would always be wondering where is he, and she would never know where he was. So I could see that my dad wasn't the example in the house. And my mum would always just take it, and I just didn't really respect her. And funny enough, usually because I come from an African background, if you step out of line, like your parents, they hit you. But with me, because I no longer respected my mum, I would fight back. So when there was a situation in the house where, let's say, for example, I didn't wash the plates. So she would tell me to wash the plates, but because I didn't respect her, if I didn't wash the plates, she would hit me, but then we would physically end up fighting. So then it reached the point where I was actually physically fighting my own mum. And my brother would be on the side and he would look at me, and when I would look at my brother's eyes, it would put me down because I could see the disappointment in his sister. So for me, it was a thing where I didn't want to fight my mum physically, but I couldn't control it. And whenever I would fight her, my uncle, my dad, my mum, they would always say negative things, that I'm the reason the house is like this, I'm the reason why there's division in the house, it's my fault that this happened, it's my fault that that happened. And those negative thoughts really used to get to me. It really used to put me down. But then whenever I would try and control my anger, I couldn't. I would just let loose and I'd get really, really angry. To the point that I remember there was a time, even little things would just get to me. I can't remember what my brother did specifically, but he did something and I got really angry. And I went to the kitchen, I got a knife and I went after him. And he ran to the room. And I was so angry, I was stabbing the door as if I was gonna really kill my brother in that moment. But it was only because I couldn't control the anger. So the negative things that they would say to me, oh, you're this, you're that, I would react to it, if that makes sense.
Yes. Wow, that was terrible.
You see, Pastor Douglas, how strong negative thoughts is. It pushes the person to a limit where they will react. Because if, as she says, only when the negative thoughts start coming, then she starts to react even more. Because as it is called, negative thoughts, not positive, it's negative thoughts. So how long, I'm not going back, but how long your father was out of the house before he came back?
I think it was just like a few months.
Few months.
Just a few months.
So when he came back, everything started to go wrong.
Yeah.
How many families, Pastor Douglas, is watching right now and this is the exact thing? Many. And that's the reason why we want you to pour it all out. Give it. Don't, pour it out because they are watching. They want to know how you overcame, how you suffered, and how you overcame.
Tell us a little bit more about this. I mean, how did these affect you in a negative way? Did it change your persona, your personality? Did it, because you talked about your anger, that you had so much anger to the point that you grabbed a knife and you went after your brother. What else did it cause you to do?
It's funny because it was like I had different personalities. So at home I was really angry and I couldn't control my anger. But whenever I was at school or outside, I was the quiet one. I was the timid one. I was the one that was always to myself. I wouldn't really speak to anyone. And I remember at school I was really insecure. So even the words that they would say to me made me really insecure. So I didn't feel comfortable about myself. I didn't like myself. I remember I really, really hated myself. I hated the way that I looked. I always thought I looked like a boy. I never really saw myself as anything. So when I would go to school, I would always compare myself to the girls in my school. I always saw people as better than me. So I always went negative. I was always to myself. But then at home, it's like when I would let loose. But then outside, I would be timid to myself. And those thoughts would always put me down. So like I remember before, I would never take pictures. I was always the one behind the camera. I could never take a picture because I never liked the way that I looked. And I remember it would always make me cry because I hated so much how I would look and I couldn't sleep at night as well. So every single time when I would try to sleep, it would be difficult for me to sleep. It would be a long day, but then when I would want to rest, I couldn't sleep. I remember I was really afraid of the dark. But because me and the relationship between my family, there was no one for me to go to. So when I was struggling with being scared of the dark, when I was struggling, I would constantly have nightmares, there was no one for me to go to because the relationship with my family was really, really bad. So all round, everything was just really not good.
You mentioned previously to me that, I think your mom and somebody else, another family member, they used to say horrible things to you, and then obviously that played, that caused you to develop more and more negative thoughts. Tell us more about this.
Okay, so I remember there was a situation where I got into an altercation with my mum and we had a physical fight and she called her brother. And I remember he called me and said he's coming down to put me to the hospital because I don't deserve to live. And for me, I was like, oh wow, because he really came. So he really drove all the way from Essex to come and say he was coming to put me in the hospital because of what I was doing to my mum. And I remember that same day, I was really like, wow, am I really the cause of everything? And then I remember there was thoughts in my mind, I might as well just end my life because I seem to be the cause of the family problems in my house. So if I just take my life, if I just commit suicide, then everything will get better. So those thoughts really started to bombard me.
Wow. Now, something interesting about her story is that you see, Pastor Neil, everything begins in the house.
For sure.
Dysfunctional families. Dysfunctional families. If you do not grow up in a proper household where you've got a role model, where you've got, you know, a strong support from your parents, and not just financial support, but physical, emotional, mental support from your parents, you're not going to make it, because, you know, when you grow up in a dysfunctional home, you are very likely to be problematic. You are very likely to get yourself into trouble.
For sure. And as in her case, she said she started to become rebellious. She started to have a hunger problem, and the negative thoughts even led her to attempt of hurting her brother. So you see that the negative thoughts is so strong. And as you said, if the house doesn't start with that base to give a good picture, then a good teaching, so that family is going to be scattered, going to be destroyed. Because just imagine what she could have done to her brother. And that's the reason why when the negative thought comes, the person has a decision to accept or to reject it.
Did you try to seek help? Did you talk to anyone about this? Because, I mean, you had gone through a lot in your house. It was like hell. So what did you do, you know, to make yourself a little bit relieved from that tension?
What I would do is I wouldn't want to be at home. So because the issues were always at home, it always led me to be outside more. So I would just go outside to avoid the issues of my house. But I remember there was a situation where I went out and I was just with a bunch of friends, and we went West End. It was my first time, I've never been there before. So we went West End, and I remember my mum forbidding me to go. She told me, no, don't go, but I went anyway. So I remember I went and we went shopping, and while I was shopping with my friends, they were stealing. And in me, I couldn't steal. So I told my friends, no, I'm not involved. You guys can steal, but I'm not going to steal anything. So I was just walking with them casually, and I didn't know that they had put stolen items in my bag. So when I was leaving the shop, the security guard came to me and took all of us to the back of the security place. And I was fine because I knew I didn't steal anything, so I didn't think anything was going to happen to me until they checked my bags and there were stolen items in my bag. And I was really, really shocked because I remember my mum told me, don't go. But because of our relationship, I didn't listen to her. And then I really wished I listened to her. And then I remember they wouldn't let me go until they spoke to my mum. So they had to get in contact with my mum so that I could be released, so that I wouldn't go to prison or anything. Because my friends then said, oh, she didn't steal the stuff, we put it in her bag. Then I remember when I spoke to my mum on the phone, that's when she really, really said a lot of hurtful things, saying she wished that I wasn't the daughter that she had, basically, how she told me not to go and I didn't listen, how I'm on my own. She doesn't care, and she dropped the phone. And that's just how things were just getting worse and worse and worse.
It was getting from bad to worse.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and I believe there are people who are watching now and they can relate to her story. Do you need our help? Why don't you give us a call? We've got a team of advisors who can answer your call and pray for you. Give us a call, talk to us, send us an email. If you are shy to talk to us over the phone, then send us an email instead. Tell us what your problems are. We want to know, we want to help. That's the purpose of this show. No wonder we call it Finding Answers. Because if you're watching me now, you're not watching me by coincidence. It didn't just happen by chance. God calls you to be there, sitting there, watching me, because He wants you to find an answer as to why your life is so bad, why problems have been tearing you apart. But there is a solution. There is a way out. Call us. 0207686630. The email is help@findinganswers.tv. We'll go now to a break. When we come back, Dami will disclose to us what was the worst moment of her life and how her life has changed. Stay tuned.
Time is an illusion. There is only the now.
So now's a good time?
Oh.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
If it's in the cinema, it's in On Screen. On Screen on MyTV. Get all the recent news updates with France 24. Watch France 24 on MyTV. Football, football and football. More football than ever. Championships and Bundesliga legends are closer than you think with Kickoff. Watch Kickoff on MyTV. Latest digital inventions, cyber concerns and much more uncovered in Shift. Everything you need to know about the modern digital world. Watch Shift on MyTV.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Welcome back to Finances. Dami, tell us, as far as you can remember, Dami, when was the worst moment of your life?
I think the worst moment of my life was when I reached the point where my family decided they had to take me out of the house because they didn't know what I was capable of. So I remember my grandma, my mum's mum, she came to live with us, and I can't really remember the situation, but there was a situation where I got angry and I ended up hitting my grandma to the point she had to go to the hospital. So she really got injured by, I don't really know what I did, but I was really angry. I just saw red and I don't know what happened. And they had to take her to the hospital because of what I did. And my mum had to call her friend to take me out the house because she didn't feel safe with me in the house. I think that was the lowest moment of my life, to the point that when I came back, because I didn't stay there for long, but when I came back, I remember I was in the toilet and I was holding like pills to like overdose because I wanted to commit suicide because I thought, nah, like I'm not really helping my family. And I remember my mom came to the bathroom and she saw me with the pills in my hand and she actually shouted, yeah, kill yourself. She shouted to me, kill yourself, and she walked away. And I was crying so much, I couldn't believe it. But I couldn't bring myself to actually kill myself. But that was like the lowest moment of my life, to have my own mum tell me, yeah, kill yourself, as if she didn't care.
Now, tell us, how did your life change?
Well, a friend invited me to this place of faith. And when I came, that's when I started to learn a lot of the issues that I was facing were actually problems. So I never really saw them as problems. I just thought everyone goes through them. Everyone has hard moments in their family. Everyone has someone they don't get along with. Until I started to come and I started to learn these things aren't normal. And I also would hear a lot of stories of other people that were going through a lot of things that I was going through as well, and they overcame. And for me, it really gave me hope. It really enabled me to believe that the same can happen to me. So I really started to take things seriously. I really started to attend the meetings more regularly, and not only attend, but put what I was learning to practice. So while I was coming, I was learning that I couldn't hold grudges, because the grudges wouldn't really affect my dad, but it was only affecting me. So when I started to learn that I couldn't have those things inside of me, I started to take it out. So I started to pray for my dad. That was something I would really do. I would pray for my dad. Even though I didn't feel like it, I would pray for my dad. And then over time, I started to actually miss my dad. And I learned that I couldn't be so rebellious. I had to respect my mum. I had to respect my brother. I had to be the example in the house. And I really learned that if I wanted my family to change, I had to change first. So that's when I started working on myself. I started working on the inside. I started to see what is the root of the anger? Why do I get so angry? Then when I started to find it, I started to uproot it, and then I could control myself. So I really, really learned a lot of things that I started to put into practice. And then my family eventually saw that change inside of me. So, yeah.
Okay, so the change began with you first.
Yeah.
And this is really nice, Pastor Neil. You see, when the person has a family problem, the person has to understand that the first problem to be fixed is his own.
Yeah.
There is no point trying, to find one to blame if I don't fix my problems first.
Because for many years, how long you had these negative thoughts, these problems in the family? How long it lasted?
13 years.
13 years. So, after 13 years, let's say she was full. So, as she starts to change her, it will give her strength now to change the other things, Pastor Douglas.
So your family saw your change, and obviously they were impressed with your change in a positive way. Okay, so now how is your life today? Make a summary of what your life is today.
Okay, so I'm no longer that angry person that can't control myself. I can control myself. I now have a really good relationship with my mum. I can actually really speak to my mum. And even when my mum goes through issues and things that she needs help in, she always comes to me. I remember there was a time I was speaking to her and I was really shocked to see how far our relationship had actually come. Me and my brother are really, really good now. Even my brother has now come to start attending this place of faith with me as well. And they've really seen a change. Like, there's peace in my house. Peace that was never there is now there. Like, we can speak to each other in a way that we never used to. I'm no longer insecure. I no longer really put myself down. Negative thoughts come, but they don't overpower me. I know to push them to the side.
You like to appear in the photos today?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How about your relationship with your father?
So we don't speak because he decided not to be a part of our lives, but I've forgiven him. So even though we don't speak, I do miss him, and if there is an opportunity for me to meet him, I'm more than happy.
Of course, but not because you excluded him.
No.
But obviously you respect his choice.
Yes.
Wow, congratulations, young lady. I believe that your story has helped a lot of viewers to understand that their lives can also change. Did you hear this, dear viewer? Your life can change. Faith can transform you. And we are not talking about a religion here. This is not a religious program. We are talking about God. And unfortunately, people tend to associate God with religion, which is a deadly mistake. No, God is not a religion. God is the creator, the maker. And he does not want you to suffer. He does bother about your suffering. He sees your tears. He sees your broken heart. He listens to your complaints, to your whispering. Even when you just whisper and no one can hear you, he's there listening to you. But he can't do anything unless you take the first step. Step right, Pastor.
For sure.
The person has to take a step.
Has to take the step. And if he or she doesn't take a step, the situation will not change. What Dami did, she took a step. Today, she has reason to smile. Today, she has reason to share her story with others because she took the step.
To the point where her mother now comes to her for advice. a woman who would call her names, a woman who even came to the point of saying, yes, go kill yourself. The same woman now comes to Dami and say, you know, and asks for advice. This is what faith does. Faith transforms families, and your family can be transformed. 020-7686-6300. Call me. Talk to me. Pour out. We want to listen to you. If you don't want to talk, fine. Send me an email instead. help@findinganswers.tv. Write your story. Let us know who you are. We want to help. We care for you. Well, we will now go to a break, and after the break, it will be the moment of prayer. Stay tuned.
The matters of the heart are the most bothersome.
We like to explore in details what people have been through, what couples have been through, so that we can highlight some points.
Learn to love intelligently. Watch Love Talk on MyTV. Meet the amazing SUV Jaguar, the stylish Fiat, a vintage VW, a sporty Honda, and the Green Smart ED. Drive it, test it, know it. We have cars for any taste. Explore vehicles and their features with our weekly show. Watch Drive It on MyTV.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort, and homework from you.
Watch The Chrissy B Show on MyTV.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. What a story. What a testimony, Pastor Neil.
It was amazing.
It was amazing to hear how God can transform families, not just one individual in particular, yes, but an entire household.
Because, you know, when the family has a structure, it is good. But when it is broken, it doesn't just hurt one person, but it can hurt the country, can hurt the neighborhood, can hurt many others. You see what happens. Even Dami, she reached to the point where she almost killed someone, almost hurt someone. She reached at a point where her mother says, kill yourself. So you see, when the family is broken, it can, many things can enter, and it affects many others outside also. And that's the reason why it's so important to have a family that has base, because in truth, God is family. Understand, Pastor Douglas? God is family. And that's the reason why we have to put all our strength. For example, in your family, in my family, we have to give ourselves for that, to make sure that the family has a structure. And that's when the happiness is going to come.
Yeah, you know, the problem of our society nowadays is dysfunctional families.
Yes.
I mean, when we grow up in a dysfunctional family, I did grow up in a dysfunctional family. I believe you did also.
For sure.
You know, it caused a lot of negative effects on us.
Yes.
But because we heard about the power of faith and we took the right course of action, we made a decision, our families are great today. Dear viewer, you may be part of a dysfunctional family. But you know what? If you apply to your life what you've been learning in this show, you can be certain that the story of your family can change. You don't need to suffer. Your family doesn't need to go through all this. Hence why we are going now to prepare our hearts and minds, and Pastor Neil will say a prayer for you. He will pray for your son, for your daughter, for your wife, for your husband, for your grandparents, for your in-laws. He will pray for your siblings, for your cousins. It will be a family prayer. And if you receive this prayer with an open heart and agree with us, your family will be visited. Your family member will be touched by the power of God. Let's now pray together.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, you are family. And that's the reason why I pray right now for the broken home, the broken house, the broken family. This son that is rebellious, this daughter that she was a very respected daughter before, but now becomes so angry. She's full of anger. I pray, my Lord, for this marriage, that this husband, he used to love his wife so much, but he's at the point of walking out, of moving out. And my Lord, this has been affecting the children. All the time they quarrel. The children from their rooms, they can hear the shouting, they can hear the screaming, they can hear those rude words, my Lord. I pray at this moment, because there are many broken houses, families that they don't know where to turn anymore. They don't know what to do anymore. But I know you can restore this home. As you restore the home of Dami, as you restore her home, for today she can smile. For today she can share her story with many. I know that you can do for this home that at this moment is broken. This person that is watching now that cannot sleep. This person cannot sleep because of arguments in the house. I pray also, my Lord, for this son that is behind bars, this daughter that she ran away from home because there are a lot of problems. I pray, my Lord, for those who are sick, those that they cannot take it anymore with that pain, with that disease in the body. I pray for those, my Lord, that everything they touch in life, they fail. Those who they are bombarded with negative thoughts. I know that you can resurrect this person. I know that you can transform this person. And in the name of Jesus, my dear friends, you that you are there now, touch the screen right now and receive strength. Touch the screen now and receive strength, because God is ready to restore you. He's ready to restore your house. He's ready to restore your family. My Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, I present this family. I present this man, this woman that, my Lord, is at a dead end into your hands. In the name of our Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
We said this prayer heartily, with all our faith, and we sincerely believe and hope that you do something about your life. You take the right course of action. Seek help. Once again, I say, give us a call. We want to listen to your problems. We are here for you. You've got nothing to lose. Give us a call. 02076866300. If you don't want to talk, if you feel shy, send me an email then. help@findinganswers.tv. We'll read your email and get back to you. Okay? That's it for tonight. Thank you, Pastor Neil.
It was my pleasure.
Yes. May God bless you. Stay safe.
This programme is brought to you by UCKG.